Hi, my name is Lise Ann Johnson. I'm the Artistic Director of the Great Canadian Theatre Company here in Ottawa, and I'm going to tell you all about our 2012-2013 season. Our season has 6 fantastic plays that I think our subscribers will really enjoy. It's a season that has a lot of heart and humor threads its way through all of the plays. We have there's slapstick, there's physical comedy, there's black comedy, a lot of wit, irony, as well as gentle laughter. And it's a season that has plays that are very emotionally engaging. So we have stories about fathers and sons, plays about mothers and daughters, about friendship, about people who are following dreams and obsessions and passions. We open our season with a wonderful play called The Secret Mask by Rick Chafe. And it's an unusual take on the father-son story. The play is about a man named George who's in his 40s, who receives a phone call out of the blue from a hospital in Vancouver telling him that his father, Ernie, has had a stroke. And the twist here is that Ernie abandoned the family when George was 2. The play is really about how the stroke, in a strange way, even though Ernie loses his memory and some of his memory and loses some of his language, in a strange way, it's the catalyst for the communication that ultimately takes place between the father and the son. The characters are very charming. What Rick has done with the language of somebody who's had a stroke is very witty and very funny, and it's a very moving play. Fly Me to the Moon is the Canadian premiere of a wonderful black comedy by Irish playwright Mary Jones. It's very, very funny. It's set in a working class neighborhood in Belfast, and the central characters are 2 home care workers, 2 women by the name of Frances and Loretta. So their job is to care for the elderly. And it's really about a day that goes from normal to completely out of control. So they're at the home of one of their clients, Davy, who's 86 and who has a passion for the music of Frank Sinatra and betting on the ponies. And while Davy is in the loo, he dies. He dies of natural causes, but this has never happened to them before. They've never had one of their charges die in their presence before, so they have absolutely no idea what to do. It's a really fun, high-energy piece, and I think audiences will have a ball watching it. We're very excited about bringing the number 14 to Ottawa. It's a piece that was created by Access Mime Theatre in Vancouver, and it is an international success story. It's been seen across the world and loved by audiences across the world. It's a day in the life of a bus, and it's inspired by an actual route, the number 14 in Vancouver. And what audiences see are a series of skits and sketches where you have a group of characters come onto the bus. They're colorful, they're crazy, they're really fun, very physical. They play out a scene, they leave the bus, and the whole thing cycles again. And it's very, very funny, extremely skillful physical comedy. The actors use acrobatics, they use mask, they use a lot of slapstick, and it's tremendous, tremendous fun. We've programmed this in December, so in the lead up to the holiday season, and we find that audiences are often looking for something that's festive, something that's celebratory, something that's fun, and something that they can bring the whole family to. So when we learned that Access Mime was producing the 20th anniversary tour of the number 14, we thought, this is it. This is the piece that people are really going to want to see in that December time period. We're absolutely thrilled to be bringing back Carmen Aguirre's Blue Box to GCTC. This is a piece that we produced a workshop version of in our Undercurrents Festival this past February, and it was absolutely the hit of the festival. The tickets sold out instantly, people loved it, and so we're bringing the full production back with a full scenography, with a lighting design and a sound design. So the finished product, as part of our 2012-13 subscription season, Carmen Aguirre, many people may recognize the name because her book, her memoir, extraordinary book, Something Fierce, won this year's CBC Canada Reads competition. And it's about growing up in the Chilean resistance, both as a child and then ultimately in the 80s as an adult choosing to join the resistance. And Blue Box shares much of the same subject matter as Something Fierce. It's a series of interconnected stories. It's autobiographical, and so it's Carmen telling the audience about her life, and it weaves together these interconnected stories that you don't at first see the connection to, but really weave together magically. Carmen Aguirre has had the most extraordinary life, and it's an incredible treat to hear her present it theatrically. So it's a show not to miss. We're delighted to be partnering with the National Arts Centre English Theatre to co-produce the Edward Curtis project by Marie Clements. It's a very interesting project that is both a play and an exhibit. So it's a collaboration between Aboriginal playwright Marie Clements and the award-winning documentary photojournalist Rita Leisner. Marie and Rita decided to retrace the steps of Edward Curtis, who was a photographer who lived in the early 1900s and who took over 40,000 photographs of Aboriginal peoples across North America. So Rita and Marie hopped in their car and they retraced his steps, and they interviewed people, they talked to Aboriginal peoples, they did these wonderful documentary portraits of people from various tribes across North America. The play is about a woman named Angeline, who is a Métis reporter who travels to the far north on assignment and has to cover the deaths of 3 Aboriginal children who were abandoned in the snow and died as a result of exposure. And this particular event begins to haunt Angeline, and she begins to feel that she herself is vanishing, that she herself is frozen in time. And it's a really wonderful poetic piece. It's visually beautiful. It incorporates video and photographs and projection and movement and sound. Really multidisciplinary piece. And alongside the play is this wonderful exhibit that will be hung in the Fritzie Gallery on our 2nd floor, as well as in our studio theater. And it's a wonderful kind of dual experience for our audiences. Like Wolves is the final production of our season. It's a black comedy, and it's a world premiere of a brand new play by Ottawa playwright Rosa Laborde. And it's about a woman named Vera who is celebrating her 54th wedding anniversary. And her husband Sam, who's a bit of a cheapskate, as a surprise takes them on a trip. And it turns out that the trip is to a free trial at a retirement home, which doesn't impress Vera very much. Vera is a bit incensed. She wants to leave. But as she's leaving, Sam ends up having a heart attack and has to undergo treatment at the adjoining medical center. So Vera has to stay. In the meantime, her 2 daughters, her 2 grown daughters, descend and try and help out, although they're not particularly helpful. And Vera has these fantasies about going and doing all the things that she wished she had done when she was younger. So visiting various places in the world and having a more exciting life than the one she's actually led. And it's this really wonderful, blackly comic family drama about what's the good life? What is it that we value in life? Is it being a parent? Is it traveling the world? Is it pursuing the things we always wanted? The play asks some really big questions in a very comic way. I think it's a season with lots of humor, with lots of heart, with lots of wonderful characters and great stories. I think it's a season that our subscription audience and our single ticket buyers will really very much enjoy. It's great Canadian theatre at the Great Canadian Theatre Company. To buy a subscription, just drop by our box office at the corner of Holland and Wellington or give them a call.